Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to United View. Welcome to another Flex's View, man. Happy Bank Holiday Monday. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's nice after the Bank Holiday weekend. Football terms, out of it. Because in football terms, obviously, we ain't going to be good. Do you know what I'm saying? We ain't going to be good. Smash a like, man, on the video. Subscribe to United View if you haven't done so already. Let's check in. Let's check in and see what people are saying. Nikhil says, looks like we're going to have a live Flex's View, 100%. That's what this is this morning. A live Flex's View, a chance for me to address you guys, tell you how I'm feeling, get into some of the big topics on my own. And of course, you lot fire the questions as well. It's almost like a little Q&A back and forth between us lot, man. It's our little setting. Broderick says, go on, Flex. Tell me why I'm overreacting. I haven't seen what you said, Broderick. I ain't saying that. Broderick starting on the front foot. Jesus. Daniel Luciano says, let's get a quick 100 likes. 100%, man. Let's have a good stream. Let's have a good stream. Let's get the first 100 likes in there already, man. We got like coming up to 30 now. So let's do that. Mods, do the Lord's work. You know what I'm saying? And also, Wolves. Here you go. Look, Kanda. Wolves, new manager, 5 wins in a row. How come they don't need 11 new players? We're going to talk about that. I felt it yesterday. Let's get into this Flex's View. And the reason why I wanted to talk about is their progress was because this is where the conversation steered after yesterday. This is where the conversation steered after yesterday's defeat, right? And it was a game, and it's so funny how it happens because at the beginning of the game and the lead up to this game, with the come down from Thursday, we're all saying it don't matter on Thursday night, on Sunday afternoon. Obviously, you don't want to lose games, but especially now, we understand that there's going to be players playing that don't normally play, youngsters in the team, senior players that we need to leave are going to be playing, etc., etc., etc. And Wolves under Vitor Pereira are good. So don't expect too much in this game. 120 minutes as well. Wolves have had a whole week to prepare. And I'm just setting the scene. I ain't putting excuses in there. I'm just setting the scene. Yeah. And we'll talk about the big things. I ain't going to shy away from it. Right. But I'm just setting the scene. So that's what it was before the game. Then the game pans out how it did, which was basically, I mean, we were the better team in open play. There was a lot of periods where, we couldn't score, we couldn't create. And then we started to. Garnacho could have had a hat trick of assists. Really, that video that's circulating, the chances we missed, the Hoyland last ditch, not in the right place at the right time, poor movement from him. The Mason Mount too that he had, should have scored at least one of those. So not gilt edged chances, but we should have scored at least one. And Wolves didn't do a damn thing apart from Sarabia sticking the ball in the top corner from a free kick. Yeah. So, what? Nick Pope? Oh Jesus. Oh, the Pope. Oh, yeah, breaking it. Sorry, you caught me off there. George says, geez, Flex. Mods do Lord's work. The Pope has just died. It's our fault. Jesus. Sorry, I thought you meant Nick Pope. Gee, listen, let me not get involved in that. But, yeah, shout out anyone who's, the Pope's died. I'm not really an avid follower of any of that stuff, but obviously that's not nice. That's not nice. Right. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, as soon as we lose the game now, as soon as we lose the game, the conversation started steering to we haven't got any better at this moment, and we had it yesterday on the aftermath of the game, and me, KG, Marcel, and Owen were talking about it, and in the chat and how everything was, you started to feel, and then you see it online again. Once we've lost this game, all of the conversation started pivoting back again to Ruben and the lack of improvement. And it got, listen, KG made his points. KG stood by his points. In the end, I know KG, he said, listen, I ain't doing this anymore. I made my point. I'm wrong. You're right. That's what, when KG gets his point and he's like, nah, I'm done. He's done. We know what KG's on. Owen was saying his piece. I kind of sat back and just let them have their thing. And it started from Marcel saying, this is great. Like, basically, we're going in the right direction. And a lot of people didn't agree with that. And I don't agree that we've improved as well. So here's my thing. Have we improved under Ruben Amorim? For me, no, we haven't. I don't think you can get 6 wins and the amount of losses that we've had and say it's improving. I think we're using the word for, I think we're using the word, we're swapping out the word improvement where we should be putting familiar. They're more familiar with the formation, because then we got down that like they're a bit more comfortable in the formation, but we haven't got better. I don't think you get 6 wins in 22 games and say you've improved. I just don't see it. Is there a way you can talk about small, minute things? Yes, there is, but ultimately, it's not improvement if it doesn't show that you're getting better as an output, and we're not. Here's a quote from Ruben Amorim yesterday, right? And he sort of talks about himself, where he says, "What did he say?" I saved it because I thought that's a good as well. He said, "Being better does not count if you don't score, because it's the result that counts. We had chances, we controlled the game, we blocked the best players, and then a set piece changes the game. It's frustrating." So he's saying it's frustrating, but that line there, being better doesn't count if you don't score. We can't say that we're better if we've had the same problems as last year. Like Owen was saying, we're on course to concede around about the same amount of goals. We've just eclipsed our worst tally from last season in terms of losses. So we've got 14 losses last year. We've just got 15. So that's not better. And then I think there's a miscommunication about like saying that we ain't got better and saying that Amorim ain't going to be able to fix it are two different things. Right now, have we got better since Ruben Amorim's been here? No, but I understand why. There's some people who are saying, listen, don't tell me that he needs this and he needs that. Look at the Wolves manager. I'll get onto that, right? But I understand that he needs his players. He needs to get to the summer. He needs to buy players. And obviously the scrutiny that he needs to show and the pressure that's on Ruben Amorim to perform and deliver next year, deliver improvement, by the way, I'm saying. I'm not being unrealistic, but to deliver noticeable, tangible improvement where you just take a few looks with your eyes. Yes, the numbers should probably support it up as well. But I'm talking about just with your eyes, you can see that we're better. That is a different conversation than talking about have we got better this season. Me personally, I don't see how you can say anything's better this season. We've taken out an attacker and put an extra defender. Oh, we look a little bit more solid. Well, yeah, we got a fucking big, massive horseshoe going round the back. We play on the back foot. We sit in and play on a counter attack against most teams. We're not dominant in all the games. Yeah, they're a little bit calmer because we don't get run through all the time. But that's because we've changed the formation. That doesn't mean that we're great. Show says factually we are not defensively better. Fourth worst defense since Amorim came in. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. I was reading a piece here on Sky that was just looking at some of the facts. So that's about misfiring. Another defeat at Old Trafford. United defeat on 15 in the Premier League. That's a new record, surpassing 14 under Eric. That's not all his fault. Where was that? I saw a stat that was basically talking about the goals that we conceded. Commentary on this season. Where is it? Amorim's lost 11 of his 22 games in charge. That's crazy. 1-6, drawn 5. That's as many defeats as he suffered across his final 114 games at Sporting. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know where it is. But basically, us conceding the amount of goals that we've conceded is about the same as before. It's the same. Now, I believe the reason why we've got worse under Ruben is because he's changed so much. Because he has to. That's his style. That's his system. And he understood that. We had to change all of this in a short space of time. If Ruben's system was 4-3-3, yeah, or 4-2-3-1, I don't think we would have been as bad as we are. I don't think it would have been this bad. I think it would have been bad, but I don't think we would have been this bad because that adaptability where players had to get familiar playing a new system, that in that time, you basically would have seen more improvement than what you see now. That's what would have happened, in my opinion. I don't think it would have been this bad. It's because he's had to change it all during the season, and they didn't ain't got a clue how to play that system. And Ruben Amorim is not a manager, a coach who's going to change his principles, which that's fine. Games have been from individual mistakes. Flex, there is context. Go back through all those goals by one. Tell me it's the and tell me it's the system, please. That's the next thing. That's the next thing. Mitigating circumstances of why it hasn't improved. This is just another element of why it hasn't improved. This is exactly my point. M says it there, right? This is the reason why it has not improved. Games have been from individual mistakes, Flex. Right. Fact. I get that. So that's another reason. I'm not saying that the reason why we haven't improved is all Amorim's fault, because there's a lot of games we could have won. Yesterday, the way we lost weren't actually mad. Now, if you actually look at the game, we were the better team just after playing 120 minutes. Wolves didn't do anything. We had 3 big chances to score, didn't take any. They've put a free kick in the top bins, game over. That's all that happened yesterday. We didn't lose in an embarrassing way. We didn't lose by a big margin. We weren't dominated by it wasn't a tactical masterclass by flipping Vita Pereira, who's amazing in this system and all this stuff. It wasn't that. It wasn't that. But if you want to look at that as well, where people say the Wolves managers only come in now, look at Wolves' team. So they've been playing that formation 3-4-2-1 like a lot longer than Man United have. That's a fact. They've also got players that suit that system. You got Cunha, who's one of the most sought after 10s in the league now, one of the best players in the league. You've got Nuri, who's one of the best wing backs in the league, or best fullbacks in the league. We wanted him, or you'd want him. And you look at the 2 centre mids in Gomez and what's his name? What's the other guy's name? What's my man's name again? Gomez and Andre. Is it Gomez and Andre? Them two. Like, look at them as centre mids. Like, they're combative as well as they can play. Do you know what I'm saying? So they've got the players that literally suit what they do. Look at Strand Larsen up front and look at Rasmus Højlund. You know what I mean? You need a big, strong target man, someone who's gonna look after the ball. So they've got players who actually suit that system, which is one of the biggest problems of what we don't have. So again, I take that into consideration when I'm petitioning the blame around the place for who's at fault for what's going on. But again, I can do all of those things, but I still don't see it as, you know, we're better. We're improving. I can't use that word improving. I think there's been moments where we've looked a little bit better. I hear that. I'm not saying it's been all doom and gloom, but the overall analysis is we're not better. We can be better. Do you know what I'm saying? You can say that there's been seeds that have been planted that can turn into improvement, but I haven't seen the improvement yet. I've seen players more comfortable in a certain in this system, but that's just familiarity. That's just repetition for me. That's not improving. That's just being more comfortable with this. But all the statistics and all the data and all the eye tests tell us, for me, that we're worse. Now, some individuals are having better games than others as individuals. Fine, I agree with that. You know, some individuals are, you know, if you look at say, like I said, yesterday, Garnacho could have got 3 assists, but he didn't because people couldn't finish. Other times we could have scored 2 to 3 goals, but we didn't because Garnacho makes the wrong choice. These are the individual errors. Højlund can't hit a barn door. Højlund can't hold up the ball. You know, his confidence is gone. We ain't got no other strikers. The wing backs ain't great. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not great. Central midfield, Ugarte and Casemiro are kind of just getting by until you get what you really want in there. You know, we don't have killers and 10s apart from Bruno. And, you know, Ahmad was on his way to being that. So I just see, personally, I just see too much wrong with this season for me to have the overall thing of, we've got better. We've got better, actually. I don't see it that. Listen, I'll disagree with people who say that. I disagreed yesterday with KG and Marcel and other people who are saying we've got better. I just disagree. But people are allowed to have their opinion. I don't think, that's what I will say is, I don't think that this whole like going after people or this, that, and the other, and you don't understand this, you don't know nothing. No, that the way we see things can be different. And listen, the people who are saying that we've made improvements, there's always going to be some like logic to their argument, to their opinion, should I say? I don't not understand the small things they're saying they have seen the improvement in. I just don't agree that the overall um the overall answer to that question of this short season that we've had under Ruben, which feels like ages, by the way, is that we've got better. Some people have come to the conclusion already that Ruben's dead and he should just go in the summer. Some people are like, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but he needs his players, I'll tell you that much. And then other people are like, listen, this guy will absolutely get it right. He is the guy. He's the man to take us forward. Just be patient, stick to the script of where we said it's going to hurt, where we said we're going to get licks and it's going to be trouble. Stick to that script, stick to that, and we'll be all right. There's three completely different ways of thinking straight away. And really, let's be honest now. The problem we've had this season is the fact that the losses have been so much. There's been so many losses that it doesn't even, like, you can't even break them down anymore. And they just become more damning. Like the manner of the defeat, it doesn't even matter. It's just seen as another L. Because like I said, if we break down what actually happened yesterday, we lost by a really fine margin. And again, and should have won the game. We've changed the team. There's youngsters that have come into that team that played really well. Let's talk about Harry Amas. He was excellent. 13 duels contested, won 9 of them. 7 ball recoveries. Shout out Statman Dave on this. 4 passes into the final third. 3 clearances. 3 fouls, 1. Like, he had a good game. He had a very, very good game. Dorgu won the most duels in 60 minutes versus Wolves, more than any other player managed whilst on the pitch. Won his duels. Tyler Fredrickson had 15 duels, won 12. 93% pass accuracy, 4 tackles, 1. He was good yesterday. So, there's positive. Harry Amas had more ball recovery, 7, more than any other player. Man United player yesterday, won the ball back the most times. So, look, there was some positives in yesterday, but because the end result is you lose, which is what Ruben's talking about. If you don't score, it doesn't matter. It's another L. It says 15 in the L column. It says 15, mate. Losing bare games, playing on the back foot. My thing is, I don't mind being patient, but for me, I'm not calling that improvement when I don't see it. I don't see it, man. I don't see it. Even if we lose by fine margins, the outcome's still the same. It's still the same. But next season, listen, next season, what is getting more and more concerning is the fact that the league is just extinct, yeah. Because that's happened. First of all, if you don't win the Europa League, it's a bad look. It's a bad look, right? So that's one thing. And secondly, in general, the amount of pressure now that Ruben has on him, which he always would have had pressure being Man United manager, but the amount of pressure that he now has to start next year with us seeing something is absolutely massive. Because let's be real, like I said, we ain't got no better. He's changed the formation. Cool. Players need to get used to it. Cool. Players need to leave and players need to come in. Cool. Once that happens in the summer, depending on what the summer looks like, 5 or so players in, hopefully, and hopefully some big positions addressed. If we are in this type of form next year, he'll probably get relieved of his duties. Well, actually, it depends what Ineos are on. Ineos, this is their guy. This is their guy who they want to be patient with. And, Marcel was saying he'll give Ruben a free hit next season. I don't agree with that at all. You can't have a free hit. You can't have that many losses for whatever reasons. It doesn't matter. You're Man United manager. You can't have that many losses in that amount of time and then continue that into the second season. We have to see improvement. And that's where I'm at. I want Ruben Amorim to stay. I'm not supporting any calls for him to be sacked in the summer and don't give him money to spend. I don't believe in that at all. I think that would be silly. I think we've just wasted the money to go and get him, and we've just wasted the investment to get to the summer to give him the players. Like Capel Dye says there, the free hit is now. Exactly. The free hits now. And I spoke about that earlier on in the season, and I was like, we're going to end up having to give Ruben a free hit. And everyone was like, no, don't do that. you know, this, that, and the other. Don't you has to be a free hit. We're not saying free hit, but we're not expecting this, that, and the other. And look, as you keep losing, this is what happens. Even if you lose in the way we lost yesterday, which weren't even really anyone's fault, you know. Asim says Flex would have finished in the top half of the table be seen as improvement. Again, this is why we have to take a lot into consideration. Eye test everything, because listen, we're going to probably finish 17th this year. Let me look at the league, because that's the next thing. Are people ready for that? Or is there going to be new outrage when that happens? Is there going to be new outrage when that happens, when we can clearly see that's probably what's going to happen? Wolves are level on points with us. Spurs, they play tonight, probably going to win. Well, they've got Forest at home. Don't know, but let's just say they do. Probably going to go above us, even if they get a point tonight. West Ham are on 36. I mean, they're terrible, and we have to play them. Might not finish. I think we'll finish 16th. But then again, the next couple of games for us, let's be fair. Bournemouth away, don't fancy that. Then you got the game on the Thursday. Then in between that, you got to go Brentford away. Don't fancy that. Straight after. Then West Ham at home. Then Chelsea away. Then Villa home, fighting for top 5. So we're probably going to finish 17th. So again, is that an improvement to get in the top half from 17th? Yes, but we'd have to look at that next year about what we really saw, because you're right. If you go from 17th to 11th, numerically and mathematically, you finish higher than you did before. But Jesus Christ, that's a low bar. That's a low bar. If you go from 17th to 9th, you're in the top half, but you're 9th. You're 9th, mate. Do you know what I'm saying? Really, you want to be saying top 6, but then you look at the top 6 teams and look how good they are, and you think that's who you got to get better than. How are you going to do that in one transfer window when you're this bad? So I think we have to take it. We have to take it in stages and see what our transfer window looks like. You can't legislate for the other teams as well. They're going to improve. So I'm saying they're going to get better. Villa are going to get better. Newcastle United are going to get better. Forest are going to get better. Chelsea, you'd assume, are going to get better. Arsenal, Liverpool, City are going to get better. So, you know, to try and gate crash that, you know, to even go above teams like Brighton and Brentford and Palace and these types of teams and Fulham, mate, West Ham might get better. Exactly. Graham Potter, I mean, he's been terrible since he's got there, but if he gets someone gets it right, he might turn it around. Then we'll be looking at it again saying, Potter came in afterwards. He's worse than Amorim. Why is he this? Why is he better? Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm not in the blind thing of like Ruben will 100% get this right. I'm like Ruben 100% deserves the time. That's what I'm on. We said we're going to rebuild. We have to rip up all of this thing. The famous rip it all up. It's worse now. It is. But there's no point bringing in Ruben Amorim for me and not even allowing him to get to the summer. Even though, listen, it's been dreadful. It has been dreadful. But what's the point in sacking the manager after 6-7 months when there's so much to fix and change at Man United? Terence Pace says he won't do it, but I wouldn't be shocked if he just outright quits because he can't be bothered with a team that doesn't care, and I won't blame him. Listen, Terence. I agree with you to saying he won't do it, but you're saying it's that bad. You wouldn't be shocked if he just said, "Forget this, I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm gone." And I hear you, but he won't do that. He won't walk away. He's not a quitter. And this team's not trying. You see that where Terence says, what did you say? Your team that doesn't care. I think the team cares. I just don't think they're good. They care. They try. They ain't down tools. This team ain't down tools. They're just not good. They're just not good. And now they've been set up in a way that also doesn't help them because they're not used to that. So the little flashes of brilliance would get on the counter-attack last time and just try and play with counter-attacking football. Like, we can't even get that anymore because it's a completely new system. So I don't think you can look at it and say that they don't try. I just think they're crap. People are too obsessed with 18 months time and 2 years time that they don't care what's happening in the first 6 months. I hear that show, but the first 6 months, it's been terrible. I get that. But if it changes, the first 6 months could be something we look back on and be like, remember when we were that shit? Do you know what I'm saying? And time's going to tell. But I just think, I mean, Show, what are you saying? Show, do you think that, I'm not asking you, do you think that we should get to the summer and sack him? Does anyone think in this chat we should get to the summer and sack Ruben Amorim? Because for the 6 months, it's been terrible. So what they should do is cut the losses now, spend even more money, and get him out. Who thinks that? Taiwo says yes. MA says yes. David says no. Mustafa says yes. Nikhil says no. Marlon says sack him. 8 Premier League defeats at home is unacceptable, says Rishi. Rishi says sack him. Jay says sack him. Lendell says no. Mozo says no way. Wow. Wow. I tell you what, there's a lot of you saying yes. There's probably just about more of you saying no, though. I'm not doing a poll. I don't even want to type that into the poll. Should we sack Ruben Amorim? I'm not even trying to push that, but I just wanted to just get a quick feel for what you lot are saying. On the fence, as Nem Green. No, I'm saying let's have some accountability. I wouldn't be upset if he was sacked. I can understand it. I get the accountability. Listen, bro. Show, you saw what happened when I said the word accountability, bro. Got to be careful when you say that. I got killed for mentioning accountability, and this was this was against Newcastle the first time I was talking about accountability. We should hold on a sec. Where's that? MA says we should have never hired him in the first place. We needed a big Sam Pulis type manager who knew the league rather. But I don't. Nah, man. If we had a Pulis, what do you mean? We can't go get big Sam type. What? Just hang on in there. We can't. That's not what we want Man United to be, bro. I'm after on sub because the community. No, Amorim shouldn't get sacked in the summer. His first 6 months are mid-season without his players. Context is important. I agree with that. I think we either sack him in the summer or keep him for the whole season next year, regardless how bad it gets. But that's what Minna was talking about, what she didn't understand. Minna raised the point, and she was saying she doesn't understand people who are saying give him till sort of October and then sack him, because you just spent the whole summer getting him as players. You just giving him money for players that suit this system, and then you sack him in October, and then you're left with a bunch of players who don't suit the new manager, and then you're back to square one again, which can happen. It can happen. That's why the recruitment team got to be good enough to get players that are adaptable. You know what I'm saying? And just get good players. Good players can adapt. I don't care who they are. Good players can adapt. Back him till Christmas. But if we're still losing games next season, he's got to go. Yes, I'd sack him, says Extera. You're all crazy to say yes. It's so mixed. It's so mixed. And you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest. I'm not going to police that. You can't. People who are saying that he should be sacked, with how bad it's been, listen, I hear your point. I don't agree with your point. I wouldn't sack him, but I can't tell someone who's looked at what's happened and gone, this is much worse. Look at all these losses. I don't care. I ain't seen, even with the players we've got, I haven't seen enough. If that's what you feel, I understand that way of thinking. I don't agree with it though. I don't agree with it. It's not something that I choose to adopt, because for me, like I said, it doesn't. How do you bring someone in mid-season? He needs to get his players. He hasn't shown enough. No, he hasn't. He hasn't shown enough. But you look at the type of criminal individuals that we actually do have, and you don't allow him to move them out. You don't allow him to move them out and bring in what he needs or what he wants. Because then once he starts, that's almost a mitigating circumstance that you can give him. It is. That's a mitigating circumstance that you can give him. But you also have to say to it next year, once he gets his players, that excuse is gone. There's nowhere to hide for Ruben Amorim next year. Nowhere. Once he brings his players in, once he's had more time to work with his team, once he's had this pre-season, that's going to help us fix everything. We should be better. And do I think we will be? That is where I'm on the fence. I will keep it a buck with you. That is 100% where I am on the fence, mate. That I don't know. Because of how bad it's been, I'm struggling to see how I can put my finger on it and say it will definitely be better. But if I just do it by law of just buying better players, So replacing Rasmus Højlund with somebody who's actually a decent striker should make a big difference. Should make a huge difference. Getting 10s in there that know where the back of the net is and can create more often and travel with the ball and keep the ball better would instantly make us better. So based off that, we should be on paper, getting a better wing back at right wing back, getting a better centre mids. Those things will instantly make us better. So I don't put my finger on it and say like he's definitely going to do this, that, and the other. But buying better players because of how bad some of our players is, we have to be instantly better. We have to be. Liba says that my worry is that Amorim has not shown me he is tactically on par with most managers. I don't think getting players is the whole solution. He will be found out tactically at the highest level. And LeBuff, listen, I understand why you've made that come to that conclusion. I do, because of how bad this 6 months has gone. You can't look at this 6 months, in my opinion, right? You can't look at this 6 months and be like, no. I tell you what, as soon as he gets his players, the league's finished. You lot better watch out. I ain't seen that. I've not seen that at all. You lot better watch out. It's over for the league. He did good stuff in Sporting. Amazing stuff. Built that team that could compete against, big teams in Europe. We saw that. The Portuguese league obviously is different. There is enough evidence there to say if you allow him to construct his team, he can build something really good. I get that. But the Premier League is a different beast. The Premier League's a different animal. It is. It really is. I'm just not blind faith in it. That's where I'm at. I'm not in this situation where he will 1,000,000% get it right. I really like Ruben Amorim. The way he speaks thing has already ran out though. Like, I like the way he speaks. I like the way, that's one thing, to be speaking well, but he has to do so many interviews now and we lose so many games that even he's like, this whole it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. We keep losing. So that charm's worn off now. And that's even by his own admission as well. You can only speak so much before, like, you keep saying we have to suffer and we have to do this and we have to improve it. Those things I've checked out of just because of the team so shit. He's run out of excuses, exactly. So that doesn't mean anything. We just have to improve. I don't care about what he says anymore and how well he comes across in the presses. He'll always come across well because he's a good communicator. It's whether that level of communication now can help take us to the next level throughout the summer and get a better product out of the team. Asim says, Flex, would you concede that we have had improvement under Amorim with regards to conceding way less shots on goal than we were before he came in? With the eye test, I'm not the stats man. I'm never the best. But with my eyes, yes, I would say, again, my overall conclusion is that we haven't improved. But I think even within that, you can have conversations like this, Asim, where you can look at minute things. Yeah. So with that, have we improved in terms of conceding less shots? Are we as easy to get at? Maybe not. But the flip side to that, which is a trade-off, which Haf says, is we also have less XG, goals and shots on goal. We don't create as much now. Now, that's when you talk about, as soon as you say that, you talk about the individuals and say you got a criminal up front in Rasmus Højlund. Apart from Bruno, who creates, Ahmad's been injured. Garnacho, criminal, doesn't pass. You start bringing in the individuals to legislate for the team stats being crap. So all of it lives in one, and that's why this is hard, and you have to break them down into sub headings. But really, that's why overall, when I see it at the end of it, and I say, a fundamental question: have Man United improved with Ruben Amorim? For me, the answer is a big fat no. Do you know what I mean? We're not as easy to play against because we got 5 defenders. 5. We got 5 defenders with 2 defensive-minded players ahead of that in Casemiro and Ugarte. So essentially, that's 7. That's 7 defense. We only play with 3 out-and-out attackers. We only got 3 actual attackers in our team. You know how crazy that is? How mad that is. We've only got three. Three. And them three ain't killers. Do you know what I'm saying? Them three ain't killers. Bruno's the only one who will consistently give you goals and assists out of that attacking three. And half of the time he's playing in a pivot in midfield this season, playing deeper and still giving the same output. So between Garnacho, Ahmad, Xerxes, Mount, Hoyland, Mainu, because you got to add Cobb. Cobby's new into it because he's been injured and he only played a couple of games in that area of the pitch. But now he's that. That's our 6 attackers. In this system, let's say what it is. These are our 6 attackers in this system, yeah? Bruno's multifunctional because he's playing a lot deeper as well, but the last couple of games played in the 10. Bruno's an attacker. So we got Bruno, Mainu in this system, Mount, Ahmad, Xerxes, Ericsson, hybrid. Is Ericsson an attacker? Plays between the 10 and... Let me take him out. That's 5. Hoyland, 6. Chido, 7. Young kid, hasn't even played, but we'll just include him in there. 7. That's our 7 attacking players. That's why we're rubbish. That's it. That's why. Oh, Garnacho, I forgot him. And Garnacho. So that's our 8 attacking players. And I've just added a few in there who, let's be real, they're not really... Like, Cobby hasn't really had a run at that. Mason Mount's been injured the whole season. You know, Ericsson is multifunctional, so he's sometimes an attacker, sometimes a midfielder. And you took out Rashford and Anthony as well because they were in there as well. So that's why we're rubbish. But when you say that's why the XG's gone down and stuff like that. But when you make the case to say we concede less, that people can't get at us as much, again, like I said, you got a back three with wing backs there. It's safe. It's very, very safe. You know, it's easy to play that. And we play on the back foot. All these big games we've been playing in, we play on the back foot, sitting in and staying in the game, which, again, suits us at this moment because we're not good enough to be anything else. But what I'm saying is don't misunderstand that for improvement. That's not getting better. All that's happened is we found a different way to lose. Let's just be real. Let's just be honest. Doesn't mean it can't change under Ruben. Doesn't mean it won't change when he gets his players. But all I see is we're losing games in a different way. We're now losing games by can't score, can't create enough because we've got 7 defenders on the pitch. We're now losing games because, like you say, the individual errors. We're not losing games because we're conceding 17 chances. Cool. But we're losing games because we can't create nothing. And we're losing games because the individuals aren't good enough and need changing. That was happening under Eric. You know, we were a counter-attacking team under Eric. We're still a counter-attacking team now. And this is why, for me, you can't sack Ruben Amorim. You have to give him the time in the summer to undo that. You have to. Michael says, so how can we improve? Well, I think the way we can improve, bro, is literally, like I said, by getting better players instantly. And Ruben has to improve, obviously, what he's getting out of the squad. He knows that. That's not against the manager or not. If you're blindly thinking he doesn't have to improve, then you do have a big problem. You do. You know? You do. Smash the like, people. And not the heart. People. Please, people, and join the award-winning UV family. 100%. Oh, the like's not liking. I haven't. Oh no, are they terrible? 150. Yeah, right. We need to pause the show. You're right. You're right. You're right, Daniel Luciano. Oh my days. Oh my days. Let's at least get 250. I need 100 more people. Come on. I was so engrossed in just talking about this, and this is what happens. You know, we don't really know what's happened, but I am pausing the show. We need some more likes. Please do. Just take a second, and go from there. I mean, and smash up the like button, please do. Something like, has Man United intend to sign a goalkeeper and striker this summer? Good. We know that. You know, that can't be, um, you know, something to be taken lightly. We have to stick to the script. Where are we at? Yeah, exactly. 150. Where are we at now? Are people liking it up? People running it up? 204. Good. Let's get 250, peeps. Let's get 250. Share the video as well. We're 800 watching. I don't know if we can get to 1,000 watching live. Probably a bit of a push this late in the show. But please do share the video. Let people know you're watching. Share it in your group chat. Share it online. Let people know Wagwan. You know what I'm saying? Let people know Wagwan. Amorim out, says Doctor. I will say this though. It is interesting to see in the chat. You know, and that's without a poll. I'm too close to the camera. That's without a poll, to be fair, that you can see that there's a lot of people that are like, nah, man, this Amorim thing is not, this is not it. This really, really isn't it. I do want to say though, Harry Amas, because Patrick Dorgu's been brought in, and I think Harry Amas is showing some signs that he's ready. Do you know what I mean? He's ready to play more. There's the kid looked fine. I think on tour, we saw him play. He had some work to do. And I think he's a great example of someone needing a little bit more work, not going out on loan, training with the first team regular, you know, being in and around it and waiting for his opportunity. And he looks like he's starting to take it. Looks like he's grabbing it with two hands, his opportunity. Because I think, you see, Daniel Chana says there's a lot of people saying, hang on a minute, Hamas is better than Dorgu. Do you know what I mean? From what we've seen, and I know it's only a game and a bit, but we're going, he's better than Dorgu, mate. He's better than Dorgu. And look, off the couple of games we're seeing, he looks a bit more technically sound. Looks good, Harry Amas. Technically, yeah, there you go. This is what I'm seeing. The wrap up heaven says Harry Amas is technically better than Dorgu, but he's not a better athlete than him. That's why he's not starting. LOL. And you know what? That's exactly. It's that physicality. It's that speed, that power, which again, I don't think by him coming into them games though, wrap up heaven, because I agree with that point. But his technicality is a lot better, and you know, I think there's a case there, bro. I think there's a case. Yeah, he's ready. Yeah, of course he played against Europe. He played Europa League on Thursday. But I think he looks good. And actually, listen, can't take too much out of it yesterday. Dorgu looked a bit better on the right. Now, these are extremely small sample sizes, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? So obviously, for the big game against Bilbao, it's going to be Dorgu and Dallo. Of course it will. But Harry Amas should just keep playing there. You know, we got Bournemouth away next. Play Harry Amas, mate. Fredrickson done really well. I saw some people online saying, why was no one talking about him from the academy things and saying how good he is? And then I was reading up on it a little bit and seeing that he's had quite a few injuries this year, or in the last year or so. So he hasn't really been able to play as frequently as he would have liked. And since he come back from injury, he hasn't really been amazing. But sometimes that happens. A lot of times, the story doesn't always go like that, peeps. Yeah, that, you know, someone rips it up at academy level and 21's level and 18's level, and that means that their natural transition into the first team means that they're the one. There's a lot of players who don't get recognized barely at academy level who go on to, you know, be first team players. And sometimes I know a few people in academies, you know, some ex-pros that I speak to and current pros that you speak to, and you know, parents of people that are in academies. Like I said, my cousin is in Chelsea's academy. He's doing amazing. He's in the under 12s now. I think he's playing an age group above Asha. He's doing amazing. So I see what goes on behind the scenes, and he's one of the best players in that age group. Everyone talking about him, this, that, sponsored by Nike, all of these things. But like, there's also players that will go under the radar then that won't get spoken about, that will go on to make it. You know, just because you're smashing it at under 18 level, under 15s, under 11s, under 10, best player in the country for your age, to make it in that 1% is extremely difficult. Oh, the camera is blurry now. Sorry. Autofocus moving mad today. There you go. Yeah, it doesn't mean you're going to make it. It doesn't mean you're going to make it at all. It's very, very hard to make it. And like I said, a lot of the players who are in the academies don't always shine there. They don't. And some of them need that break as well. Because you look at academy football or that and the other, some of them are more suited to the Prem to get a break in the Prem rather than dropping down the leagues. You know, it's all about what the route you take. Some academy players can be great on the ball. So actually, if they come and get a debut in the Prem, they'll be much more comfortable than if they had to play in League Two. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now. There's players that you'd look at that look silky, top drawer. Oh my days! Which if you put them into a Prem game, they probably get a bit more time and space. You know what I mean? The game's not as physical in certain bits. But you drop one of these 18-year-olds that are killing it in the 21s and drop them into League Two, they'd struggle. They'd sink. They'd sink. Some of them, not all, some. So yeah, back to Tyler Fredrickson. I think it's he was good, he was composed, but it's interesting. Some people saying, "Oh, why is no one talking about him?" It doesn't always go like that. Sometimes you don't know how good the kid is until you put him in. And Ruben spoke about it with Aiden Heaven. He said it was kind of the same thing with him, innit? He was like, let's be honest, he only played because there was a lot of injuries. And now he's like, you know what? Look at him now. Now he's my player. Exactly. The TV for us is there. League Two with that high pace Route 1 football. Exactly. Because you come through the academy, everything's slick, you're getting loads of touches on the ball, then all of a sudden it's go long and be physical, and you're playing against 32-year-olds who are just ready to just head the ball every single time. Physical. Pitches ain't the best. You know what I mean? Whereas if that player gets see someone like Tyler Diblin. You see, if Tyler Diblin didn't get to play in the Premier League this year, yeah, even in a shit Southampton team, I can almost guarantee that if he was on loan at Macclesfield, no one would be talking about him. Because it's all about system. It's all about the level that you play at. It's all about the environment. And Tyler Diblin's been able to play in the Prem where the football suits him. Of course, the obviously, yeah, the facilities are better, the pitch is better, etc., etc. But the type of football being played, and he's playing in the worst team in the league we've ever seen. But all of a sudden, he's a £100 million player. But if Tyler Diblin was playing for Macclesfield or Chesterfield or Port Vale, I'm telling you, nobody would be talking about him. So players that are play. That's why you get a lot of players who come from the lower leagues who actually don't struggle that much. Look at Eze. Look at Adam Wharton. Look at Olise. He came from Champ. You know, there's a lot of players who, if you're younger and you go from down to up, it's probably easier. It's easier. Trust me, it's easier. So it's all about, underbelly League One thing. Do you know what I'm saying? So in academies, these lot are sheltered, man. Everything's done for them. They ain't got no hardships in there. So, and they play nice football and they're training with Jamie Vardy. What's his name? And Mikel Antonio, Ollie Watkins, all of these types of players. So when they're training with the first team, everything's nice. Oh, I'm training with Bruno. No, they think they made it. Then when you see players, that have been in and around the first team and then go out, then they struggle a little bit more. Or they have to go and get their grounding in at League One and League Two. Look at Charlie Savage. He's doing really well at Reading. And Reading have been through the mill. Might not even have any owners. But he's putting some consistent performance. He's playing men's football. He's getting through them hardships. When you see players like Shola Shoretire kind of struggled a little bit. You're looking at Hannibal. You're looking at Chong now at Luton. Luton fans are cussing him out, saying he's dead. That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. If you haven't hit the like button, please kindly do it now towards the end of the show. 100%. Big up to you guys. We're going to wrap up now. Where do we get to? Do we get to 240? Let's get 250 on the way out. I'm happy. I'm happy with that. Big show. Flex, would you take Eze at United? Yes, on ability, 100%. Just the injuries with him. You know what I mean? He's been a bit better on that lately, but he's a wicked player. I definitely would take him, but I'd rather Cunha at this moment. Do you know what I'm saying? Red carpet later on today, 7 p.m. Check it out. We will be there. Still going to be a lot to talk about, a lot of fallout with this. I think with this with this situation, about the improvement. Thanks for tuning in, people. Smash a like on the way out. I'm out of here. Take care. See you soon, man. Peace.